Yo YouTube! This is my video for Friday the 8th of May. Just to finish off yesterday's video, after my last job I went across, while I was in Oldham, I got my balding tyre replaced with my spare tyre, and a very nice tyre fitters. And then I remember went across to Manchester and met with my daughter and her boyfriend, and we watched the match. My team did happen to win, and so we're now through to the final on the 20th of May. So I'll probably do the same again on that Wednesday. As it turned out, I didn't leave Manchester till about, I'm going to say 10:30, 11:15. And I got home about 1:45, and by the time I got onto my dialysis machine it was 1:20, which means that I wasn't off the machine until 10:30 this morning. And when I was looking for jobs straight away, there was quite a few things I could bid on. I put about 6 bids on, and I got given the cheapest one. So I'm now on my way to Hell's Owen, which is about 12 miles away from where I live. About half an hour's drive, and I'm picking up a small van load going to Leicester. 55 miles loaded. It's £50, £50 I'm getting for it. So it's I didn't get a choice about which job I was offered. I would have preferred to have had a better paying first job, but I'm pleased to have a job so quickly. And I'll be in Leicester around about 12, I reckon, maybe 1 o'clock, and then I'll be looking for a job from there, which I tend to find can be quite difficult. There's plenty of jobs, but there's also lots of drivers. But I think maybe on a Friday I might just have a chance of getting a job. I'm not sure today's going to be a greatly paying day, but at least I'll get something for today. And definitely this week won't be as good as last week. So I'll let you know how it all goes, and update you later. The only thing I need to do now is get some fuel, because my fuel tank has just clicked to 0. So I've got about 15 miles plus left in the tank, which means I need to get my load loaded and then get to a petrol station, and then the day's going to be fine. Just in case you're worried, I regularly do this. I regularly run my van down to quite a low mileage, and I've never had any problems with any sort of silt in the bottom of it. And also, just in case you're really worried, I've always carried a can of spare diesel in my van under my sort of passenger seat. So if the worst comes to the worst, I can just fill it up on the roadside and then get to a petrol station. So I don't feel too stressed about being on the 0. I appreciate that some of you would find that very stressful, but it's just not something I worry about so much. I have tested my van's limits, how far can I drive beyond the 0. I've never actually run out of fuel, but I've sort of got as far as 15 miles as being at one point, and I thought, well, that's good. It's good to know that. And I've tested that a couple of times. I've sort of been in below 0 or at 0, a couple of times in the past, and I've been fine. But now that I've made it public, I'm sure sod's law will mean that I'll have problems today. As I pull out of this junction on a hill, I'll start spluttering when I not make up the hill and roll backwards and crash into something. Nah, it'll be alright. Tempting fate again. Cheers. Hello there, I'm back. The time is now 1:40. I've delivered my load to Leicester. I was just going through the available jobs, putting a few bids on, and I've got a bid more or less straight away. It's going from another part of Leicester, 15 minutes away, about 4 miles, and I'm going to Lincoln, middle of Lincoln. It's 55 miles loaded for a small van job, and I've got this for £60, 60. And I'm hoping that I can then catch a job back from Lincoln to the West Midlands. Now, when I was in living in that area, I would often see a job going back to Birmingham from the Lincoln area. It was a daily job, and I thought if I could only bid on that, if I was going back to the West Midlands, it'd be really helpful. Now, I don't know if that still exists, and I don't know how much it would sell for. I don't even know if it's actually Lincoln or just nearby. I'm hopefully going to find that. It leaves about, I think it's about 4 or 5 o'clock it tends to go. So I'm going to see if that's available for today, and then that'll be really convenient if I can win that job. There's a lot of ifs there, to be honest. So I'm hoping to get this job finished within about 2 hours. So let's say 3:45, and then hopefully have an opportunity by then to get another job somewhere, and then go home. So I'm hopeful to get 3 jobs. I'm only on £110 gross at the moment, so it's never going to be a massive day. But let's hope that I get something reasonable going back from East Anglia back to the West Midlands. I'll let you know. Right, cheers. Right, hello there YouTube. This is now about a week later. I'll give you some stats for Friday the 8th of May. Based on 17.74 pence per mile, I drove a total of 252 miles, 252, and I worked for 5 hours. That was because when I got to Lincoln, I waited there for about 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half, and there was no work at all. There was about 6 drivers hanging around Lincoln who were all available, and there was no jobs at all. Driving down to see my partner, and then we spent the rest of the evening together, and I came home later on that evening. So not a very productive day at all. I did 2 CX jobs, which came to £110 in total. That was my gross earnings, including the time, the mileage back to my home. It was £44.70, £44.70 that I spent on fuel. So if I round that up to £45, that means that I only made £65 net that day. In terms of the weekly figures for that week, I worked for 3 days in total. My total mileage for the week came to 865 miles. The total number of hours I worked came to 22 and a quarter. The total amount that I earned in terms of gross earnings was £430, 430. My total fuel costs for the week were £152, 152, and therefore that meant that my total weekly net earnings came to £278, which isn't really even enough to cover my business costs for a week. My average daily net income for the 3 days came to £93. So in total, not a great week. Right, I shall be back on the road next Wednesday. I hope that you are all being successful, however you choose to define that word for yourselves. And I'll see you next week. Farewell, friends.